Hey guys, this is Danny Boy, and this is Wind Up on Nightmare. This is another 5-skull strategy. I'm still using the Alienware skin, and we are reaching the end of the game. One more level after this, and we'll have gotten 5 skulls and everything, and beaten the game on Nightmare. But this is a really easy level to figure out the strategy. It has a bunch of natural choke points that you can just barricade to suit your purposes, so you could use that center choke point, or I'm going to use this wall. I'm going to use this wall with grinders, and yeah, also boom barrel dispensers. Really, really good, actually. I've always wanted to make some good use of them, and they worked really well on this map, in those little alcoves. I upgraded them to create barrels more frequently, and to take all the upgrades of the regular boom barrels, which I basically never use. I don't think I've ever used in one of these videos. And why would I when you can get a dispenser in this game? Way better than the previous game. But they receive the upgrades from boom barrels, so they also do a lot more damage and have a larger radius. I could have taken the boom barrel upgrade that made them have reduced cost, but why would I do that? It doesn't affect the dispenser. They don't have, like... Unless it would make the dispenser less expensive. I didn't really think about that. I didn't try it. Don't know. Kind of doubt it, but who knows. Not really needed. 1,000 isn't that bad, considering you don't really need to place a lot of them. Where's he going? I don't know. But again, using pretty similar loadout to the previous map. Big difference is I'm using brimstone and boom barrel dispensers, as I mentioned. And I think that's basically it. Everything else I think is the same. And very easy map to beat. Not really that difficult if you just use a good strategy. If you take advantage of the natural choke points, the choke point in the middle, or on one of the sides or whatever. Preferably the side with the walls, that makes more sense. But par, again, problem, just like in Mirror Image. Par is definitely a problem, so I had to play really aggressively. I normally would create all of my traps, lay all my traps in that main chamber as a central kill zone, but this time around, to 5-skull it, I started placing them just all the way up in this hallway. Lots of grinders making use of this wall. Because a lot of the enemies, the largest waves come out of this area anyway, and it's also the farthest from the point. The other ones start really close to the point. So, really useful to help make par, and also just lightning to kill enemies quickly. Blah! Kill them! Why you miss? This was stupid. This made me irritated. Pew pew pew, laser beams, shoot him in the face! Yay, he's dead. Okay, moving on. So, I'm going to turn this into a really narrow choke point with some barricades. Sappers do spawn up here, so I will create a dummy to kind of absorb their damage. They are reinforced barricades. Again, I use reinforced against sappers. I use self-healing against basically everything else. And here we have some boom barrels. And I didn't actually yet know their radius, but good enough for me. Basically one-shotted them, so that works well. Need to use that trinket. I realized it then. Really need to use that trinket. Cost is a bit prohibitive in this one, in the early portions, rather in just the early part of this level. I like to talk and say words, but yeah. And again, single tile choke point, really effective against, well, everything. I mean, just single tile choke point, rather. Really good with the blunderbuss. Blunderbuss, the spread covers basically the whole tile. Grenades work well. Lightning works well, the cloud works well, frost works well, everything works well. It's just good. I tried this with Scorchers, laying Scorchers along my barricades to, number one, maybe deal with sappers, but also just for additional damage when enemies are streaming in from the far left. But the Scorchers flipped them over the barricades and caused me to lose. So that didn't work. That's why I switched over to Brimstone. I do like Brimstone. I use Brimstone on some levels, I use the Scorchers on other levels. And, yeah, the sappers actually will blow up these barricades, unfortunately. I will place them eventually again, and they won't get blown up anymore because I'll have a ton of brimstone in front of it, so it won't be an issue. But sappers aren't a big deal on this one. They're very easy to kill before they reach your barricades at the very bottom in that central chamber that I mentioned. Where are you guys going? Boom. Squish. There is one thing that got me once, was at the very final wave, a bunch of sappers come in from the left. They basically always come in from this area that I am right now. The very final wave, they come in from the left. The third spawn area. I think it's the third, it might be the second. It's called Wind Up because they kind of like go through one door first, and another one, then another one, and they kind of like alternate. It's kind of weird. Also, yeah, worry about those Cyclops mages. They do a ton of damage. You can use... Well, you can run away for one. You can just outrun the projectile, but you can also block them with the columns, and I will be doing that eventually. So, on War Mage and in other attempts, I also try to put Haymakers in here, especially... I'll maybe show you later, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to point it out, but... And one choke point, it has a low ceiling. It's the one with the stairs that just come right out of this flat area. It's almost like... I don't know. Talking. I'll show it to you later. But I used to put Haymakers on that low ceiling. I don't anymore. It doesn't really matter. Unnecessary. I'll be actually creating a lot more barricades to... Rather, placing a lot more barricades to force them down a narrow path near the boom barrel, dispensers, and grinders, and whatever all along that wall. That's what's going to happen. I'm killing some sappers because they go boom. And just trying to, again, speed. Speed was what was important to me, not score. Just making par, getting 5 skulls, and being done with it. You would once again more than likely get a much better score by waiting for everybody to come into your choke point and die to these traps. Highly likely that you would do better doing it that way and just saying to hell with time, to hell with par, to hell with 5 skulls, doesn't matter. Your traps give you a way higher score. Very good score, way higher score than what I'm doing now. Lightning, pew-pew. I always take Frost Magic, even if there aren't flyers, to deal with Fire Ogres. If there are Fire Ogres on a map, they're always a problem because they're not really affected by any floor traps, really, barring Tar. And Spike Traps, but Spike Traps are really bad in my opinion. Unless you just... Some levels they can kind of work if you just place a million of them, but personally, I don't really like them. Your mileage may vary, of course. I don't really use that teleporter very much, because I like to peek over to these stairs anyway. But I probably should have used it a little bit more, would have improved my time a bit. Yes, these trolls are also really annoying. Killing them quickly is really important. Another reason to use lightning, freeze them, shoot them with lightning, it does a ton of damage. Problem is that that's kind of expensive. Lightning is definitely expensive. I'm just going to fill this area with grinders and eventually brimstone. Also, yeah, I mentioned my upgrades for my boom barrel dispenser. It's not upgraded. I said it's inheriting the boom barrels upgrades. It's not upgraded to automatically detonate, so I do have to trigger it myself by shooting it. Which is not hard to do on this map because they're going through a narrow choke point and they're going in a straight line anyway, so I can time it really easily. Generally speaking, I don't use boom barrels because when they do auto-detonate, they usually auto-detonate at poor times when they're not really affecting a lot of enemies, and their radius is also a lot smaller because you don't have the boom barrel, the just regular boom barrel upgrade that increases radius. And there's not a lot of instances where I can just watch the boom barrel dispenser, where they're just running at me. A lot of times, it's not so simple. On a lot of missions, on a lot of maps, you have to be basically in 2 places at once because this game is designed for co-op. You just don't have that luxury. I would have definitely liked to get more use out of them, though. They are fun. Definitely fun to blow up like 30 orcs all at once. So here I'm finally using the teleporter. Teleporter, mrah. Boom, in your face. So already on level 7, rather round 7. And this is where I start just filling the area with brimstone. Runners are not a problem really on this one at all if you do just barricade off the sides and stuff. And use grinders, because grinders kill runners basically instantly. They're right up there with brimstone in terms of killing them effectively, and they're definitely more effective than brimstone if they are just running over a single tile. Grinders can suck up way more runners than brimstone can destroy. You only can up to, what is it, 5 on brimstone before it has to reset? Grinders can suck up like 15. Pretty awesome. So yeah, guys, we are almost done with this game, actually. I've mentioned before, I don't know if I'm going to actually show co-op. I do have recorded quite a bit, but I don't know if I'm going to actually show it. If there's a lot of demand, I guess I will, but it's going to be a lot of work. And there are other games that I'm going to want to play very, very shortly. so we will see. I mean, I guess I could always come back to it, but there's so many games I need to play. I don't think I've been doing a great job of using my Scavenger Trinket on cooldown. I have been using a lot of mana on Lightning. This is an example of I would have gotten way higher score if I waited for them to go to my traps, go to my boom barrels and stuff. Though, and I thought about that at the time, and I kind of was sad, but then the boom barrels kind of detonate accidentally anyway. The shotgun, I think, triggers it at the wrong time or something because of it's a random spread. So I wasn't as upset. Like right there, why did it just blow up randomly? I don't know what that was about. Random. Someone lives. Oh, fat troll being fat. You're fat. They move so freaking slow, especially when they're in tar. So yeah, I don't know why I placed 3 lines of 3 necessarily. I probably could have walled it off and just had them go in one line, but whatever. It doesn't. And I kind of thought about that at the time, but ah well, it's Nightmare. Once things are placed, you're generally speaking not going to have a chance to sell them. Rare occasions you can, but unless you're right there when you beat the level, you're not going to have time to get there. You just have 3 seconds. This is kind of a long one, not as bad as Crunch and some others. Part of it is I'm trying to kill them quickly. I beat this multiple times and missed par by just like 15 seconds, was rather annoying. But lightning magic solves all of your problems in terms of speed. In my case, anyway. So yeah, Firewall would have been good here, but didn't need it. Totally unnecessary. Rather have lightning. Kills faster. Does more damage. Die! Why? Also, you can actually see... This is an elevated area. I mean, there's a stairwell. You can see these guys approach from down below. I imagine there's definitely a way to take advantage of that, but I wasn't really usually looking up there, but maybe there's a good place like Ballistae. You notice how this thing above me, it's like a low ceiling sort of deal relative to the other ceiling, which is more like a cathedral ceiling. Maybe you could place Ballistae up there and shoot through the holes in the path that they walk across. Just the not really windows, but you know what I'm talking about. The gaps. Don't really like the Autoballista. Ballistae, Ballisti, Ballistas, whatever. Freaking Greek. Greek words. They fire slow. The range, even when upgraded, isn't... I mean, it's good, but they have kind of a narrow sort of deal. I don't know. They're not really meant for killing mass amounts of orcs. And there are better things to deal with hard targets in my experience. Seemed to be better in the previous game. Owie. Yeah, this is what happens when you get hit by a bunch of Cyclops mages at once. I need health. I would love to be able to put the healing well or the health trinket on my bars, but I have never, ever, ever been able to fit it, basically. There's always something else I need. Boom. And make sure to kill the Goblin Shaman. They will resurrect the Cyclops mages, which is really annoying. I think he just did, in fact. I'd love to be able to fit the Bone Golem on my bars too, but I just can't. Examples of things that you can actually use in multiplayer, in the co-op, with friends. Somebody can basically always... Because you have 12 between the two of you versus 10. And just 1 or 2 more makes a huge difference. If I had 1 more, I'd be able to have the healing trinket on me right now. Or the trap reset trinket. Or a healing well. 2 more makes a big difference. Gives you a lot of things that are luxuries that you can't have in the single player. Which makes the game more entertaining and more fun, because you can be more aggressive or do different things, different combination. I imagine all these single player strategies would work just fine in the co-op. I mean, the co-op is scaled to be even harder, but I mean, this is massive, massive overkill at this point. This one doesn't even really require you to be in multiple areas at once. You can just lure them all here. The one time, you know, I go away from here is just to speed things up to help make par. I hate mountain trolls. Also, did you notice that the Null Grenadiers like stop appearing really early on in Nightmare? Maybe they're more common in Endless. Also, I just realized this is the final wave. We're about to win. Huh. Yeah, I was actually kind of worried about par right here. This was taking forever. But yeah, this is basically it, guys. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. Please like the video if you liked it. Please sub if you want to see more. Leave comments and feedback. Ask questions. I'll answer them. And now watch me slowly kill this freaking mountain troll. And of course, I missed. I think I missed. It didn't seem to take much damage. There. Yeah, I definitely did. Die. Shoot you in the crotch. Over and over again. Finally. Yay! 5 skulls. I think this was actually the first time I got 5. Yep. First time. Close to 200k, 195,490. I'm sure you could do way better. You let more traps kill your opponents. I killed, as you see, 354 and 365. I almost matched my trap kills. That's way too many combat kills. And you can also see trap kills are worth almost double, actually more than double, the combat kills. Though I did get a few more trap kills. Maybe that's why it's more than double. Alright guys, have a good one.